aiming at all students have improving math outcomes when they're provided high quality math instruction designed for accelerating learning at the school system and state level. Next slide. And all of the work that we do surrounding math is centered on these 4 pillars, and that's high quality grade level instruction, ensuring every student has timely proactive intervention so that they can access that high quality grade level instruction, providing ongoing professional learning and proactive planning time for all teachers, and capitalizing on the relationships we can make with family, caregivers, and communities in support of mathematics for our students. So today we're going to talk about continuing our math instruction so that we can continue to prepare for the LEAP assessment this year. And we're going to start with alignment. So everything in our approach to curriculum support is aligned. The standards in the curriculum, the professional learning, and our assessment. Next slide. So as we look at the structure of assessment and think about how best to support students in their success on the LEAP assessment, it's important to really think about the test design. And this is a picture of the 3rd grade test design. And what I wanted to point out here is that 65% of that assessment is focused on type 1 items. And type 1 items in the field, there's a varied understanding of what those items really are. And I wanted to make sure that everybody consistently understands that those are the items that are major, additional, and supporting content. So that's all of the grade level content kids engage with. And it's any type of item that's able to be scored by a computer. So the best way to prepare for that is to make sure that all of the kids, go back to the previous slide, please. The best way to be able to prepare for that is to engage with all of the grade level standards. Type 2 is 16% of the test, and those are items where kids are asked to express their mathematical reasoning. And type 3 is 19% of the assessment, and those are items where kids are asked to express their modeling and application skills. Okay, next slide. And this is a summary of what all of those tasks do. So it's important to see that type 1 items are that balance of all 3 types of rigor and are focused on all of the different computer scoreable, but it's really all of the content kids engage with throughout the year. Okay, next slide. So when we're thinking about the best way to prepare for all of those assessment items, it's important to look for alignment between the items and what's available within the curriculum. So on the screen here, you can see a sample release to test item. This is a 3rd grade item, and an item from one of our widely used curriculums in our state. So remember, these are computer scoreable, focused on all of the content kids are supposed to learn at the grade level. If kids are engaging with the curriculum, they're engaging with that major, additional, and supporting content. And so this is an item that is embedded, an opportunity that's embedded within kids' experiences within their high quality materials that would is definitely aligned. Okay, next slide. So type 2 is, again, those constructed response items focused on expressing mathematical reasoning. And the example here is a 6th grade item. On the left is a released item that asks kids to respond to the reasoning provided in the sample work. And on the right, if you read the bottom part, are there any values you could use for A and B that would make all of these expressions have the same value? Explain your reasoning. So that is another experience that's embedded within a daily lesson where kids are asked to explain their reasoning so that they are able to do that when they get to the LEAP test. Okay, next slide. And again, here's a 3rd example. On the left is the released item, and on the right is the modeling experience for kids that's embedded within the curriculum. Okay. As kids start learning how to develop those constructed response items, it's important that they're experiencing this in mathematics in a scaffolded way. So in ELA classes and in social studies classes, we often model those experiences for teachers, for kids, allow kids to get feedback and draft and engage in the revision process and then submit a final draft. In mathematics, those modeling and reasoning experiences are often built in within the discourse and the teaching parts of the lesson in a scaffolded way so that when students get to the independent modeling and reasoning task later on in the year, they're set up with the skills to be able to do that. So as we plan instruction, we know that the type 1 tasks are covered by all of the content that is included in the standards. But if we want kids to be prepared for the modeling and reasoning task, kids need to be able to see teachers demonstrate how to engage in those modeling and reasoning scenarios, have opportunities to talk to each other about it and get feedback, have opportunities to draft those responses, think about revisions, and provide a final draft of that task. Next slide, please. So as we move into preparing for LEAP this year, it is important that we continue to focus on core instruction within our high quality materials and make sure that kids have the opportunity to engage in all grade level content, that we allow students to experience all of that major additional and supporting content, and that we provide opportunities for kids within our high quality materials and teach our teachers how to identify those reasoning and modeling scenarios built in with our high quality lessons routinely. Continue to address that unfinished learning through individualized acceleration, and be sure to engage students in 3 or more observed lessons per week so that they are set up for success this year. If you would like a more detailed presentation on the content that was presented today, we'll be diving deeper into this in our math regional tour sessions in Lafourche Parish and in Lafayette Parish in early February. I'm going to pass it to literacy.
Thanks, Jamie. Hi, and happy 2024. So let's talk literacy, specifically today talking about literacy policy. So as always, I will start with our literacy mission that states all Louisiana students will have improved literacy outcomes through high quality instruction and interactions by an effective teacher who is supported by leaders and families. Our Louisiana literacy pillars are the cornerstone of our literacy improvement work and focus on 4 key areas: setting and monitoring literacy goals, providing high-quality core instruction together with explicit interventions and extensions, providing ongoing professional growth for both our teachers and leaders, and ensuring that families play an essential role in the literacy development of their children at all ages and stages. If you joined us last time, we discussed the structures that need to be in place to evaluate the effectiveness of literacy implementation on your campus, and how when effective practices are supported through effective implementation within enabling contexts, student outcomes increase. We also discussed how literacy screener data not only informs you of where students are, but also shows you the effectiveness of core instruction. And if you have a large percentage of students falling below proficiency, you need to shift your focus to core instruction. And it's that time of the year again to check in on that data. So all K-3 students are currently being screened for the beginning of the middle of the year benchmark using Amplify's Dibble's 8th literacy screener. So please be reminded that within 15 days of this assessment, families should be notified of their child's literacy proficiency level. So there are 2 reports on the Dibble's platform that will meet those policy requirements. The caregiver report will share the proficiency level, and the Home Connect report will share what families can do at home to support those measures. Also, within 30 days of the assessment, if you have any students who now have fallen below proficiency between the fall and the winter, an individual literacy plan should be developed, and families should sign off on that plan. So family reporting documents can also be found on the Literacy Screener webpage. These include reports for those who are taking LAR, which is our Literacy Alternate Assessment, and family reports for students who are in the dual language immersion, as well as some translated family reports in Spanish, French, and Vietnamese. So there's an additional piece of legislation that I want to make sure you're all aware of that will take effect next school year, but it's important to be aware of now. So Act 422 of the 2023 legislative session prohibits third graders from moving on to fourth grade if they fall in the well below range on the end of year DIBELS assessment. There are some good cause exemptions, specifically for some students with disabilities, Ls who are new to the country, and students with dyslexia, but that's going to be a small percentage of students who fall in that category. And if they do not qualify for that good cause exemption, then they would have to repeat third grade. Again, this law begins next school year. So students who are retained in third grade, or those who are promoted due to the good cause exemption, will be required to have a student literacy plan that outlines the plan for intervention and family engagement. I mentioned that this law begins next school year, but we don't want to wait until next school year to take action. So you have an opportunity to take action now, specifically with this year's second grade students. As the middle of the year is rolling in, as the middle of the year data is rolling in, look to see which students are falling below level and start having those conversations with your teachers. So do they see an increase or a decrease in the number of students that are falling in the well below level? What do they see in that data as far as patterns are concerned? How is core instruction going, and are small group interventions and progress monitoring happening on your campus? Then have other conversations with families as well. So families of students who are in that below proficiency range should be informed of this law so they are aware of the potential of their child being retained in third grade. So you also need to share the information on our Steve Carter Literacy Tutoring Program so that they have those opportunities to access free tutoring. Also consider what summer learning can be provided for those second graders this year who are still struggling to read at the end of second grade. So if you take away one thing from your session today with me, please take away to pay attention to those second graders, specifically those who are falling in the well below range or close to it, and make them your goal and ensure that they will recover. So here you will see more ways to stay informed as we continue to release more information around our literacy and MASH initiatives. You can sign up for the department's newsletters, reference monthly calls, locate all the tools provided to you through our Louisiana Literacy and Math Refresh websites, and of course, continue joining us for our monthly webinar series. Our next webinar will take place on February 5th. And then, of course, you're always free to reach out to us with any questions or needs of support to our math team at stem@la.gov or the literacy team at louisianaliteracy@la.gov. On behalf of the math and literacy teams, I thank you for joining us today.